In 1978, Reinhold Messner did what most believed was impossible. He became the first person to summit Mount Everest without supplemental oxygen. No bottled air. No Sherpa team. No fixed ropes. Just a man, alone in the death zone, moving through snow and silence. It was more than a mountaineering feat. It was a philosophical statement. That modern achievement didn't have to mean more technology, more control. It could mean less. A return to something elemental. After the climb, he wrote in his journal, "The air tasted of life. The wind no longer fought me, I was part of it. I no longer felt like a conqueror of mountains, but their guest." That line stayed with me, not because I've summited Everest, but because I know that feeling. You probably do too. That moment when you're out there, a few miles in, lungs burning slightly, and then something shifts. Your mind quiets. You stop thinking in bullet points. You forget to check the time. And for just a moment, maybe only a moment, you feel like yourself again. But why? What is it about hiking, about moving your body through unscripted terrain, that seems to shake something loose inside us? It's not just a break from screens. It's not just exercise. There's something deeper going on. Something cognitive, psychological, possibly even existential. In this video, we'll explore that question, not just through stories, but through science. We'll look at what hiking does to your brain, your attention, your emotional regulation. We'll explore how modern life shapes and fractures your sense of self, and why walking alone in nature might be one of the last real ways to recover it. Because hiking doesn't just help you escape the world, it helps you return to yourself. Every day, your brain is processing more stimuli than it was ever designed to handle. On average, you take in the equivalent of 74 gigabytes of information per day. That's roughly 16 movies worth of input daily. This constant stream of images, notifications, micro-decisions wears down a specific mental resource, directed attention. According to environmental psychologists Rachel and Stephen Kaplan, your brain uses directed attention to block out distractions and focus on tasks. But here's the catch. Directed attention fatigues. And when it does, you feel scattered, reactive, irritable. You can't focus. You open tabs you don't finish. You read the same sentence 3 times and still can't remember it. Now pair that with dopaminergic overload. The way our devices, platforms, and even productivity systems keep feeding us small bursts of novelty. Your brain becomes stuck in a low-grade cycle of anticipation, always scanning, never landing. It's stimulating, but it's not satisfying. Cognitive scientist Daniel Levitin describes this as task-switching fatigue, where every shift in attention comes at a neurological cost. And the result? A deep, subtle kind of mental fragmentation. You don't just feel distracted, you start to feel disoriented in your own life. You wake up already behind. You go to bed overstimulated. And in the quiet moments, those few unscripted gaps in the day, you often feel anxious because your brain has forgotten how to rest. Not just sleep, but real cognitive stillness. And this is where hiking, and only certain kinds of hiking, begins to change things. Not as an escape, but as an intervention, a natural counterbalance to the neurological overload we live in every day. When you hike, especially in quiet, natural settings, your brain begins to shift. Not just emotionally, but neurologically. According to attention restoration theory, developed by the Kaplans, natural environments have a unique ability to replenish directed attention. Why? Because nature engages your mind in a way that's effortless, what they call soft fascination. The curve of a trail, the movement of leaves, the rhythm of your steps, they hold your attention without demanding it. Unlike the digital world, there's no need to filter, decide, or judge. You just notice. And that noticing is restorative. In one study from the University of Michigan, participants who walked in a natural setting performed 20% better on memory and attention tasks compared to those who walked through a city. But it goes deeper. Hiking doesn't just restore attention, it regulates your sensory input. In modern environments, your senses are overstimulated but unbalanced. Bright screens, background noise, constant motion, but little depth, texture, or stillness. Nature reintroduces sensory coherence. You feel the breeze, hear birds, see light filtered through trees, and your nervous system calibrates. Your default mode network, the system involved in self-referential thinking, mind-wandering, and overthinking, also quiets down. This isn't just nice, it's therapeutic. Overactivation of the default mode network is linked to anxiety, depression, and obsessive thought loops. Hiking seems to downregulate that system, especially when done in solitude or silence. And then there's embodied cognition. The idea that thinking isn't just something your brain does, but something your body participates in. When you walk, especially over uneven terrain, your brain becomes more attuned to the environment. You solve problems more fluidly. Your working memory improves. You think with your whole self, not just your head. This might be why some of the world's greatest thinkers, from Nietzsche to Darwin to Thoreau, structured their lives around long walks in nature. They weren't escaping thought. They were enabling it. For most of us, life happens in fast forward. One moment folds into the next. Tasks stack, conversations blur, and somewhere in that momentum, we lose track of ourselves. Not in a dramatic way, but in small, silent ways. The kind you don't notice until something stops you, like a quiet trail, or a view that forces you to pause. Hiking doesn't just clear the mind, it returns it to something closer to your baseline. You're not being pulled in a dozen directions, you're not performing. And in that absence of stimulation, your inner narrative reemerges. Psychologists refer to this as self-reflective awareness, the ability to observe your thoughts and feelings without being consumed by them. And hiking is a uniquely powerful environment for that. You're moving but not rushed. You're focused but not stressed. You have just enough rhythm to keep going, and just enough silence to begin asking questions you haven't asked in a while. How do I actually feel right now? What have I been avoiding? What matters to me when everything else fades? These are the kinds of questions that don't arrive through productivity apps or morning routines. They emerge slowly, in solitude. On a trail, under trees, with nothing urgent pulling at you. And that's when something strange happens. You don't just feel better, you feel more real. Like a version of you that got buried under obligations, feedback loops, and to-do lists is finally surfacing, not to prove anything, not to optimize or hustle, just to exist. Eventually, the hike ends. You reach the summit, or the trailhead, or the car waiting in the lot. And slowly, the modern world begins to return. Notifications light up. Deadlines wait. The rhythm picks up again. But something is different. Not everything, but enough. You notice how loud your apartment feels. You catch yourself breathing deeper. You scroll a little slower, or not at all. Because you've remembered something simple, something your nervous system already knew. That your mind doesn't need more productivity, it needs space. That your identity isn't found in constant performance, it's found in stillness and movement when no one is watching. So maybe the real value of hiking isn't just what happens out there, but what follows you back. The way you carry silence into the noise, the way you move through the world with a little less tension, a little more presence. You don't need a mountain every weekend. You don't need a cabin in the woods. What you need is to remember that you're part of something bigger, that your body knows how to guide you back to yourself, and that the trail is always there, waiting for you to walk into your own mind, one step at a time. If this gave you something to think about, or just made you feel a little more like yourself, consider liking the video or subscribing to the channel. I make videos like this to explore what often gets overlooked beneath the noise. Thanks for walking with me.